Gary Preston. Tens of thousands of Israelis marching in solidarity against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to overhaul the judicial system. In Jerusalem, here's ABC's Jordana Miller.
These changes would affect the way, for example, Israeli lawmakers pick judges, right, giving them much more power than they have today. It would also, for example, provide a means for the government and lawmakers, a ruling government, to override, strike down Supreme Court decisions, and even limit what the Supreme Court even has oversight of.
Netanyahu was going to speak today, but that has been postponed. A general strike has been called off, and planes are not leaving Ben Gurion Airport because of it. A tornado warning has just expired on the border between Georgia and Alabama, very near damage from a Sunday morning tornado. These storms following the deadly twisters in Alabama and Mississippi over the weekend. ABC's Whit Johnson's in Rolling Fork, Mississippi.
Nobody prepared for something as bad as this. I mean, this is an EF4 tornado. We're talking wind speeds upwards of 170 miles per hour, sometimes 200 miles per hour. EF4 tornadoes make up only 1% of all tornadoes, right? So even people who've lived in this area for a very long time told us that they've never seen anything like this.
More than 24 people were killed. A grand jury reconvenes in New York City today looking into Donald Trump's alleged role in hush money payments made to Stormy Daniels. Former president held a rally in Waco, Texas this weekend, slamming the judicial process in the U.S. and proclaiming himself probably the most innocent man in the country. After weeks of searching for a buyer, there's a new deal in place to unload Silicon Valley Bank. First Citizens Bank will be purchasing SVB for about $72 billion in assets. You're listening to ABC News.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-330-1991. That's 1-800-330-1991. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-330-1991. SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
North Korea's neighbors say it's been firing more missiles.
South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Japanese Ministry of Defense saying North Korea launched 2 short-range ballistic missiles into the Sea of Japan on Monday. According to South Korean officials, on Friday, North Korea simulated a cruise missile nuclear warhead explosion, and 2 days earlier, North Korea also launched 4 cruise missiles. This comes as the U.S. and South Korea hold joint military exercises, which Pyongyang has repeatedly condemned. Inez Delacoterre, ABC News, at the Foreign Desk.
An overseas museum is coming to the aid of a former U.S. school principal for art's sake. Here's ABC's Chuck Severson.
The museum in Florence, Italy, housing Michelangelo's Renaissance masterpiece David, is inviting parents and students from a Tallahassee, Florida charter school to visit after complaints led to the principal being fired by the school board for showing pictures of the statue, the birth of Venus, and other famous art. Some parents called it porn because of the 15th and 16th century nudity. The mayor of Florence calls the flap ridiculous. He's inviting the fired principal, Hope Karaskila, to the city to be honored.
No word on yet if they're going. A growing number of colleges are eliminating conventional A through F grades for freshmen. Supporters of the movement tell NPR many students get so much preoccupied with grades they don't actually learn much. Critics call the idea a college-level version of participation trophies. This is ABC News.
If you own a small business, you've probably been hearing a lot about the ERC, how it's worth up to $26,000 per employee, how easy it is. You know the spiel. So why am I still talking to you about it now? Because many of you still haven't filed a claim, but Innovation Refunds can help you close the book on this thing. They're backed by one of those big CPA firms the corporations use, so they can determine once and for all if your business qualifies. And it's free to find out. Go to innovationrefunds.com. That's innovationrefunds.com.
We're all about saving every dime these days, aren't we? Stretching dollars is everything in today's households. Stop giving the big box stores all your hard-earned money. Stop at Jay's Discount Grocery on Oak Street in Forest City. Jay's has thousands of merchandise at incredible low prices. Fresh produce every week, your choice of top quality meats, canned food, frozen favorites, ice cream, snack foods, cleaning products, dog food, and so much more. The big box stores only want your money. It's small town folks like Rick that care about the little people, like you and me. Shop Jay's Discount Grocery Monday through Wednesday, 8 to 7, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 8 till 8. EBT card and debit cards are welcome. That's Jay's Discount Grocery, 671 Oak Street, Forest City.
Showers and moderate rainfall will gradually clear out, and we are going to see mostly dry conditions for this afternoon. With the actual front moving through, we are going to watch the potential for some isolated showers, perhaps thunderstorms to develop. Across the southeast, we will get highs in the mid-70s and lower 80s. Tonight will be a dry one with lows in the upper 40s and lower 50s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Well, after a tricky weekend, Saturday and Sunday with weather, rain and thunder and lightning, all those boomer things, it looks like today's going to be kind of nice. Looks like partly cloudy, maybe as few scattered showers developing sometime today. It's only about 30% of that happening, though. Highs near 78, and then tonight, mostly clear, lows around 48. Clear again tomorrow, and Wednesday and Thursday, it all looks good. Right now, it is 59 degrees here at WCAB in Rutherfordton. We'll have the call-around report coming up in just a few moments. I'm going to delay the obits, the death announcements, until after Bill O'Reilly updates, because there's quite a few of those. But this is news from the Daily Courier from the weekend. The commissioners are asking the state to set aside the new property reevaluation. The recent Rutherford County property reevaluation may not be used after all when county and municipal budgets and tax rates are set for the upcoming 23-24 fiscal year. County commissioners passed a resolution Thursday evening formally asking the NC legislature to allow the county to instead to continue using the 2019 reevaluation, the one prior to the 2023 reval, until another reval is conducted no later than 2027. Many property owners were shocked when they received the newest property reevaluations in the mail last month. Most property values showed increases, but some showed what property owners believed to be outrageously high increases of 75 to 100% and even more. Those values, along with the tax rates, are used to determine individual tax bills. Some say the end of the COVID pandemic, with pent-up demand and more people looking to buy rural property, ultimately contributed to the high property values, along with a severe housing shortage. Some officials believe, as do some in the real estate industry, that the market is not normal and may return to some sort of balance within a couple of years. Meanwhile, many taxpayers also believe that their individual properties were not assessed appropriately and noted that similar properties near theirs may not have changed that much. Commissioners held the special meeting Thursday evening. They said in an effort to clear up misconceptions and misinformation that have been spread throughout the county regarding tax rates and property valuation. Commissioners, along with the county attorney Richard Williams, explained that Rutherford County is bound by law as to how it conducts property reevaluations and the processes it goes through to ultimately create a budget, set the tax rate, and collect taxes. Per state law, the county must conduct a property reevaluation at least every 8 years. Nearly 20 years ago, county leaders agreed to conduct revals of a 4-year cycle, essentially believing that it would reduce the likelihood of dramatic valuation changes one might see if they were only conducted every 8 years. This year's evaluation caught many off guard, but officials say this is not just a Rutherford County issue. It has happened to counties across North Carolina who have conducted reevaluations this year. Commissioners Williams, County Manager Steve Garrison, and Revenue Director Richard Lawson fielded numerous questions that had been previously submitted to the board and some that were asked in person at the meeting. Officials again assured the public that no new tax rate has been set. That will occur in June, following the adoption of the county annual budget. The property reevaluation that citizens received in the mail is not a tax bill. Let me repeat that. The property reevaluation that citizens received in the mail is not a tax bill. County tax bills are calculated after the tax rate is set and are usually mailed out in late July. Commissioners also want to assure the public that if the state legislature denies the request, the county tax rate will be reduced.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you are a timeshare owner, you're probably upset that your yearly dues continue to increase. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and done in a specific time frame. They're the only company you can trust, having helped more than 18,000 owners legally and permanently get out. So please call Lone Star Transfer 855-551-7066 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. On this Monday, we live in the United States of ridicule. Have you ever thought about this? So first, let me define the situation. Everybody living in the USA is subject to criticism. That comes under freedom of speech. So people can be critical and say things to you that you don't really want to hear. However, some of the things under the criticism banner are true, and we can improve if we think about it. Ridicule is another matter. When someone ridicules you, they are attacking your entire personage. That's what shock jocks do, and they make a lot of money doing it. Ridiculing someone is pretty much the end of the relationship because the someone getting ridiculed is not going to forget that you did it. Yes, you could apologize, you make friends, all of that, but say you're in a marriage and you're ridiculing your spouse, believe me when I tell you, that is not going away. So constructive criticism, okay, it's necessary sometimes. But if you ridicule someone, you are going to turn that person against you. Stay on the issue. Do not attack people where they live. Do not ridicule. It will destroy the relationship. Now this. No question, there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
13 minutes after 7 o'clock, I have these death announcements. Doug A. Nance, age 56, of Rutherfordton, passed away Wednesday, March 22nd, at his residence. Doug's ashes will be returned to rest among the trees and flowers at his home place. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with serving the family of Doug A. Nance. Ori Hooper Harden Roop, age 95, of Rutherfordton, died Wednesday, March 22nd, at her home. There will not be a service, and Mike Van's Funeral Home and Crematory is serving the family of Ori Hooper Harden Roop. Ronnie Lee Engel, age 73, of Henrietta, passed away Thursday, March 23rd, at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. Graveside service will be conducted at 2 o'clock today at Rutherford County Memorial Cemetery. The family will be sharing memories and stories of Ronnie's life. Ronnie Lee Engel. Danette Debbie Kimbrell, 57, of Forest City, died Friday, March 24th. The funeral will be conducted at 4 o'clock Wednesday, March 29th at First Wesleyan Church of Forest City. Burial will follow in the Rutherford County Memorial Cemetery. Visitation will be from 2 until 3:45 Wednesday at the church prior to the service. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service is in charge of the arrangements for Danette Debbie Kimbrell. Arthur Robert King, age 83, of Rutherfordton, died Wednesday, March 15 at Willow Ridge Nursing Center. The funeral service will be held 11 o'clock Thursday, March 30th in the Pageant in King Chapel. Burial will follow at Eternal Hills Memorial Park with military honors accorded by the Rutherford County Honor Guard. The The family will receive friends from 10 until 11 prior to the service on Thursday, March 30th at the mortuary. The Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory is in charge of the arrangements for Arthur Robert King. Richard Lewis Johnson, age 71, passed away at his home on March 23rd. A memorial service will be held 1 p.m. Saturday, April 1st at Crow's Mortuary in Rutherfordton. The family will receive friends following the service. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Richard Lewis Johnson. James Edward Jed Doggett, 59, of Lake Lure, passed away March 1st. The family will receive friends at 10 o'clock a.m. Saturday. This is May 6th at McMahon's Funeral Home in Rutherfordton. Celebration of Life will be held at McMahon's on Saturday, May 6th at 11 o'clock. And then again, let me make note of that May 6th. In lieu of flowers, contributions may be made to Pets Are Worth Saving of Rutherford County. Again, that's James Edward Jed Doggett. Those are the death announcements we have in-house this morning. For complete information on these and others, as they become available to us, can be heard this morning at 11:30, and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon Call Around the County newscast.
It was 1842 in the area of Texas owned by Mexico. The Texans were seeking their independence from Mexico. When Mexican General Wool attacked San Antonio, Texans formed a militia and went after him. Unfortunately, when the militia was formed, Wool had already retreated to Mexico. 300 of the militia decided to continue into Mexico. Although they were successful in battle, the Texans ended up surrendering because they had run out of ammunition. After 2 months in jail, the Texans escaped, only to be captured again. This whole affair irritated Mexico's President Santa Anna to the point he ordered the remaining 176 Texans to be executed. Local authorities thought Santa Anna was too harsh, so they decided that only 1 man in 10 should die. How would they choose the unlucky 17? They put 159 white beans and 17 black beans in a pot and had the Texans draw 1 bean each. A Captain Cameron had been particularly tenacious in battle, and the Mexicans wanted him dead. So they put the black beans on the top and had him draw first. Fortunately, Cameron had been warned, and he dug deep, pulling out a white bean. Bigfoot Wallace noticed the black beans were larger than the white ones, so he made sure he had a small bean when he pulled out his hand. One man, after drawing out a black bean, said he didn't want to starve and be shot too, so he was fed double rations. On March 25, 1843, the condemned were shot. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
The 2023 season of Atlanta Braves baseball is on, and this squad is fired up to make a run at a 6th straight division crown.
High fly, deep to left, forget about it for Austin Riley. A blast to left.
And join WCAB as we get ready for another exciting season of Atlanta Braves baseball. Our coverage starts March 31st here on 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB Rutherfordton.
And let's get started with our Call Around the County newscast to find out what's been going on around the county this weekend. And I know the man that can tell us all about it. Lieutenant Harden, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Jim. How are you?
I am doing very well. Hope you had a good weekend.
I did. Got a little rain, warming up, getting ready for garden season.
Oh, boy. You going to have a big one?
I'm going to try my best. I got my onions in, so
yeah.
I got started. That's the hardest part.
I believe you got dirt in your veins. I believe you're a good farmer.
I hope we do, Jim.
Yeah.
Last 48, sorry to interrupt you. Last 48 hours look like the Sheriff's Office has answered 346 calls for service, have a total of 183 in the county jail. Looks like they've processed 16 arrests. On incident reports, looks like a Donald Macy has reported a first-degree burglary, assault with a deadly weapon, and assault and battery reported a misdemeanor larceny. Marshall Rippey's reported assault with a deadly weapon and damaged property. Looks like Summer Schuler has reported felony larceny of motor vehicle and breaking and entering. And we have Joshua Healer has reported a breaking and entering. Looks like on arrest reports we have a Tyreek Moore charged with assault with deadly weapon, first-degree burglary, has a $7,500 secured bond. That's actually a $75,000 secured bond. Excuse me, Jim. Michael Holland looks like charged with assault and battery, first-degree burglary, also has $75,000 secured bond. We have Carl Gunn, charged failure to appear, has an unsecured bond. We have a Marjorie Bradley, charged failure to appear, has a $1,000 secured bond. Dominique Reynolds, charged with simple possession of Schedule 6 and driving while license revoked, has a $1,000 secured bond. Casey Cato, looks like charged with FTA times 2, has a $1,000 secured bond. And Roger Ledford, charged failure to appear and non-support of a child, given a $500 secured bond. Sounds like they were busy this weekend, Jim.
I believe they were. Now, maybe when we get into April, things are quieting down to be nobody doing anything bad, right?
Well, I hope you're right, Jim.
Listen, you have a safe day out there, and thanks for being on the report for us.
You have a good day, Jim.
Yeah, bye. Sergeant Lieutenant Harden reporting to us this morning, 21 minutes now past 7.
Cheryl, have you been to the Homeworks Design Center inside Henson Building Materials in Forest City?
Oh, yes. Shannon, David, and William are incredible at designing kitchen and bath cabinetry for my new she shed.
Your what?
And they have a full line of windows and doors on display in their 5,000 square foot showroom. And they'll install any ones you pick out for me.
Oh, you're too good to me.
I know. With selling and installing, it's basically one-stop shopping.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
Here's Melissa now reporting to us from 911 Communications Center. Melissa, good morning.
Good morning.
What's on your report?
In the last 48 hours, the Rutherford County 911 Communications has processed a total of 701 911 and administrative calls. These consisted of 85 for emergency medical services, 346 for the Sheriff's Office, 101 for the town of Forest City, 67 for Rutherfordton, 8 for Lake Lure, and 54 for Spindale. Under fire calls, Bostic responded to a residential fire alarm. Ellenborough responded to a fire investigation and a motor vehicle accident. Forest City responded to a residential fire alarm. Green Hill responded to a power line fire. Hudlow to a gas leak. And Sandy Mush to 2 residential fire alarms. And that's all.
Pretty busy weekend, it sounds like.
Yep.
Thanks for the report. I appreciate it. You'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jim, my friend, this is a message from Lee and your faithful listeners at the drop-in food stores. We've always tagged ourselves as your hometown convenience store, and I must add you are the hometown voice of Rutherford County and have been for years. When traveling, I always know I'm home when I can pick up WCAB, and especially when I hear your voice. Thanks for the years of keeping everyone informed and up to date on what's happening in the county. You guided us through tragedies and celebrated victories. You will be missed, but you deserve a long and happy retirement. Best wishes to you and Faye from Lee Harrell and the Drop-In in Forest City.
Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. And here's Ruby Taylor now reporting from Danieltown, SDO Fire District. Ruby, good morning.
Good morning.
What's on your report?
Well, they didn't have any call. Well, I wasn't home, so I don't know whether they had anything or not. My birthday calendar, I've got Irene Hall, Stephanie West, and Janice Roop having birthdays today, and hope they have a nice day. Signs are in the arms today, and the bus tomorrow, so that's all I got, Jim.
Thank you, Ruby. You have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Here's Chris Melton now reporting from Chimney Rock, Lake Lure, and Bills Creek. Got a busy schedule up there. Chris, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Jim, how are you?
Doing great. You had a good one?
Yeah, it was a pretty good weekend. Can't complain. Back at it today.
Yeah. Any calls?
Yeah, Friday we had 2 medical calls for Lake Lure and one for Fairfield. And then Bills Creek and Lake Lure ran a medical call Saturday, and we had 2 medical calls for Lake Lure Fire Department yesterday, and Fairfield Fire Department responded with us on one of them. So, pretty good weekend. Stayed a little busy.
Well, it's good you got so many trained men that can handle anything that comes up, and I appreciate you being with us and sharing that information.
Happy to. Trying to send all this fog down your way, though.
You got foggy weather up there, huh?
Sure do this time.
Well, we had it the other day, and you didn't have any, so I guess turnabout's fair play, right?
I guess it is.
Well, Chris, have a safe day up there. Thanks for being with us, and we'll check back in with you tomorrow.
Y'all have a great day, y'all.
Thanks, Harris. Bye-bye.
It's the store folks in Western North Carolina depend on. Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply. It's like a superstore. Deer corn, $11.05 for 50 pounds. Cob corn, $10. They have plenty of deer plant supplies. Check on the lower prices on propane, $12.99 for a 20-pound tank. Mulch, gravel, rocks, and supplies for beautiful landscaping. That's available at Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply at lower prices. Open Monday through Saturday. If you want a feed and seed store that carries so much more, including new and used farm equipment, then come on over to Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply, 188 Whiteside Road, Rutherfordton.
The Lady of Boston, North Carolina is on the air next. Bern Upton, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing great, too.
Well, that is good. Did you hear that thunder this morning?
I did. Yeah, I heard some last night and early this morning.
That's unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, and my dog heard it, too, by the way.
Okay, we have a temperature of 62 degrees here in Boston. Fire department had no calls. Don't forget to stop in at Boston Florist, and I'm sure she has the Easter lilies coming in if you want one for Easter, or check around and see what she's got. And then go on to Washburn's store there. They got all kinds of items, and get her to make you one of those delicious sandwiches. And there will be an Easter basket giveaway April the 8th at Faith Baptist Church in Forest City from 8 to 10 until they're gone. And hope everyone has a wonderful day.
DeVern, thank you. You have a wonderful day as well, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. Robbie Samuel, good morning to you.
Oh, good morning, Jim. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Got another Monday here looking at us, so I guess the month's about gone.
That's right.
You had a busy weekend?
It wasn't too bad. It's with the fire departments, it wasn't anyway. They had Hudlow had a gas leak, and Rolston had 2 medical calls, and I just stayed busy working around the house. So.
Oh.
So other than that, yeah, it wasn't too terrible. How was your weekend?
Well, I stayed busy Saturday working around the house myself. I didn't get much done, but at least I got attempted to start at it.
Hey, that's all that matters. It was the effort was there, wasn't it?
That's right. At least I impressed my wife with letting her think I was working anyway.
That's right.
My
Well,
honey-do list getting longer and longer.
yeah, and it will now that you are fixing to retire, and your work's just now getting started.
That's
You ain't retiring.
That's what they tell me.
But other than that, Jim, I hope it's a good Monday for everybody, and everybody be safe out driving in this foggy weather, and hopefully the sun will burn it off in a little bit, and it'll be a bright, shiny, blue, clear sky.
I hope it's the same thing, and you be safe out there as well.
All right, take care, Jim.
See you, Robbie. Bye-bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Cherry Mountain Fire District is our next stop. And Sue Price, good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
How's your Monday off to a good start so far?
So far, so good, I reckon. A little bit cloudy looking out there. We had a little thunderstorm come through about I think it was around 12 last night. But we got some rain. Let's see, I don't have a single birthday or anniversary on either one of my calendars for today, which is unusual, but we hope anybody's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day and enjoy it. And I didn't have any calls from the fire department. For my announcements, the Crestview Baptist Church is having revival this week. It started last night and it goes through Wednesday night. It starts at 6:30 each evening, and everyone is invited. So, good revival there at Crestview. And so far, that's the only announcement I've got, Jim. It's just quiet and calm, looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one.
Enjoy your day too, Sue, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, one of the things you can always count on is a friendly welcome when you go to Washburn General Store. And I tell you, you can find a lot of things for spring and summer. They've got all their seeds in now. A lot of folks depend on Washburn Store when they get ready to buy seeds for their garden. They got flower seeds. They also have vegetable seeds. And they have work gloves. They got overalls. I was up there the other day. They got row after row after row of overalls to fit any size body. So we're going up and visit with them. And while you're there, if you get a little thirsty, they got a cooler full of your favorite drinks. Even a cherry wine up there, I saw. And plenty of candy. And some of the antique toys that you used to play with when you were growing up, they've got a selection of those. You need to visit them if you haven't lately. It's Washburn General Store between Bostic and Sunshine on the Bostic Sunshine Highway, our historically significant store right here in Rutherford County. All right, let's check in with Tina White up in the Hudlow Fire District. Tina, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing great, but I'm up here in the Single Hollow Fire District this morning.
What did I say?
You said Hudlow.
I love Hudlow people. I was going to paint you up right with them.
Well, that'll be fine. I love some Hudlow people too.
Yeah,
but I really love these Single Hollow ones as well.
They're good people up there at Single Hollow. I'm just sort of out of color this morning.
Well, you're getting ready for retirement, so you have a reason.
Yeah, I wasn't quite ready for that announcement from Lee Harold this morning, which touched me greatly.
Oh, that's very nice and sweet but it's true. It's so true.
Well, thank you.
Well, Jim, up here in Single Hollow this morning, it is 57 degrees. Right here at my house, it was very foggy, but now it's cleared up, so there may be some fog in patches out there. Everybody be careful. The weekend was nice. We had some rain showers, enjoyed family time, church time, and it's just a busy time of year. The fire department, though, was quiet all weekend. They had a good weekend, if I understand correctly. And today for birthdays, we have Miss Rita Bowen, Bruce Nanny, and Emily Hudson, and Porty Hudson. So I hope all of these have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. still have that Boston Butt sale going on at White House Community Clubhouse. They are having, you can get a Boston Butt, a pint of slaw, a pint of sauce for $45. And the number to call is, well, guess what I've done? Misplaced it. I apologize. I have misplaced it. Here it is. 7th between 4 and 6 p.m. Again, that is at White House Community Center, Boston Butt Sale, pint of salt, pint of sauce for $45, and the number to call is 755-4319. That's all I've got going on.
All righty. Well, thanks for being with us, and have a great Monday, and I'll see you on Tuesday.
Oh, Jim?
Yes.
My daughter is right here with me, and she's just motioned that she would like to say something.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure, go right ahead.
I'm going to miss you, Jim. It won't be the same without you.
Oh.
Well, got to get her to school today. She surprised me that she wants to talk on the radio.
I appreciate that. It made me cry.
She didn't want to make you cry. Y'all have a great day out there and be safe, and God bless you.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm just an old emotional slob anyway. 7:36.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
To win in sports, you must adjust your strategy as the game changes. The same is true of investments. Let Andrew Tisdale help you create a game plan for financial success. Call 828-287-9197 and get started today. That's Andrew Tisdale, 828-287-9197. Hey, good morning, Brenda Kelly from Union Mills. How are you?
Good morning, Jim Bishop. How are you on this marvelous Monday morning?
Marvelous, marvelous.
You marvelous?
Marvelous.
Well, this is a bittersweet week.
It is indeed. Yeah.
And I hate to see you go, but I know you're looking forward to it. And I'm like Tina's little girl. I'm going to miss you.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
going to miss you so much.
Well, I'm going to miss everybody, too, and I'd like to be able to get together with everybody before I leave. But maybe I can work that out and get all the reporters together one last meal with us. But if I can get that schedule worked out, I'll try to notify everybody and maybe have a lunch with you guys.
Oh, well, that would be nice. But I'm tender-hearted. People may not know that, but I am. And I may shed a tear.
Well, I will, too.
But life goes on, and it moves on. We can't stay in one place forever.
That's
true. So I hope that your retirement is everything that you want it to be.
Well, I hope so, too. Between Faye organizing my to-do list and me wanting to do some things, I'm sure it'll work out fine.
Oh, yeah.
I think about half of the counties already got things they want me to do, so I'm going to have to learn to say no, I guess.
You're going to be busy, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I've got 56 degrees on the front porch. I don't have but one birthday today, and that's Bruce Nanny, and he's the man that keeps my car running. So thank you, Bruce Nanny. I appreciate you much. And in ways of announcements, Thermal City United Methodist Church, 301 Thermal City Road, Union Mills, spaghetti supper Saturday, April the 1st, 4 p.m. until adults $10, children $5, under age 5 eat free, and they have takeout orders available. And so far, that's all I know of going on. And it was good to hear Alan Harden this morning.
Yeah, he's a good old guy, isn't he?
He is. I said that was just perfect. This is Jim's last week, and Alan had to be there to do the report this morning.
I saw him whenever they had the meeting with the county commissioners.
Yeah.
He was over there, and I saw him chatting with him a few minutes. He's a fun guy to talk with.
He was my baby daughter's high school sweetheart.
Really?
Yeah, I remember we all got together one time and went to Asheville to see Bocephus.
Oh yeah.
we had a hoot that time. But you better get down to Ellenburg and check on Luther Sweet thing, and we'll talk at you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, brother.
Catch you later.
Bye-bye. That's the calendar report out of Union Mills. It's 48 minutes past 7.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Mr. Luther Gilligan, good morning.
Good morning to you. Nice day there, sir.
A nice day up here.
It's Monday morning. We get to go back to work.
Well, this is the last Monday we're going to have this month, so cheer up.
Yeah, sure is. Try to hold you on Saturday.
That's right.
But it's quiet this morning. Not a whole lot more. Everybody's just trying to get back to work. The fire department had one medical call, had one accident, had one controlled burn. They had one assisted EMS getting into a bedroom. But it's quiet this morning, not a whole lot happening, so you have a great day up there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, Luther, thank you very much. Be careful over there, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Take care now.
Bye-bye. Well, the good news and bad news. Bad news is Granny B's closed on Mondays. The good news is they'll be there tomorrow with those delicious subs that you enjoy so much, at least I do, and you get a good choice of what you want them to top it off with. I like that wheat bread and load it down with all kinds of things, what kind of meat you like, the vegetables you want to put on top of it. Get your big old cup of that sweet tea. That's a good place to go for lunch. And, of course, you want to top it off with a delicious donut. So check that out, and they're right there, hometown, locally owned business. Granny B's there in Spindale, up the street a little ways from Lakeside Mills, right next door to the Shake Shop.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to some folks who celebrated on Saturday. We're getting those in today. Jennifer Craig having birthdays, and Wendy Harmon. So happy birthday. Belated wishes from us, but I hope you had a good one. And celebrate today as well. Stretch that birthday out. Wendy Harmon and Jennifer Craig, happy birthday from Saturday. Now stand by. Keys to Confident Living is up next. We'll take it down memory lane with some classic oldies. At the top of the hour, we'll check out the job market report and get a chance maybe to talk with Wayne Rollins, see what he's got cooking today. All straight ahead here on WCAB Rutherfordton.
Lose our soul. If our existence is no more than an animal, then two Kentucky horse breeders had developed a heated racing rivalry. The one owner splurged, hiring a professional jockey whom he thought might give him an edge in the upcoming local steeplechase. Coming down to the last fence, the two bitter competitors were neck to neck, far out ahead of the rest of the pack. However, as both tried to clear the final barrier, they were thrown from their horses. Dazed but able to remount, the hired jockey was still able to finish the race ahead of all the rest of the riders. Returning to the paddock area with a sense of pride and accomplishment, the winner was surprised to see the look of anger and rage on the face of the man who had hired him. "What's the matter?" the jockey asked. "I won, didn't I?" "Oh, yeah," roared the owner. "You won all right, but you crossed the finish line on the wrong horse." Have you ever put your heart into something only to find that it was empty and worthless in the long run? It is a little like the man who climbs the ladder of success only to find it leaning against the wrong building. Or worse yet, as Jesus cautions us, to gain the entire world but lose our soul. If our existence is no more than an animal, then we can eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. But if man has a God to please and a future after death to look forward to, then what he does here and now is important. I encourage you to take a few minutes, not just today, but every day, and consider if your time and efforts are spent on things that will outlive you. Make sure you cross the finish line the true winner, riding the right horse. This is Bill Hostler with today's key to confident living. No sooner.
The beat goes on. The beat goes on. The drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La-da-da-da-dee.
News. I'm Sherry Preston. Across Israel, protests continue over Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to overhaul the country's judicial system. Tens of thousands of people took to the streets last night when the country's defense minister was fired. ABC's James Longman is in Tel Aviv.
Huge numbers of people have come out here in the streets. You might be able to hear the music. There's a bit of a party atmosphere because people feel they're really on the edge of victory here. And this is as the country has come basically to a standstill now because a massive strike has been called. The largest union in the country has called for a strike. That means that the airport is now partially closed. Hospitals, banks, universities, all shutting down.
Ben Gurion Airport not letting flights take off, as James mentioned, because of that general strike. Netanyahu was supposed to speak today, but the address was postponed. Picking up the pieces in Mississippi, where a deadly EF4 tornado ripped through several towns over the weekend. More than 24 people were killed and many more injured. ABC's Whit Johnson is in the hard-hit town of Rolling Fork, Mississippi.
The mayor of Rolling Fork, who also happens to be the funeral director here, tells me that he lost a number of friends. And the community is just simply devastated. They've gone through so much. He says that most of the area here is uninhabitable. Almost all the buildings have been wiped out. Nearly a total loss. There are still a few left standing, but those that are still there are so heavily damaged that people mostly can't go inside.
Among those killed, a couple who died when an 18-wheeler landed on their home. Philadelphia water officials shutting down an intake of the city's tap water, but they do say potential health risks are low following an 8,000-gallon chemical spill in a Delaware River tributary. SVB has found a buyer. North Carolina's First Citizens Bank will take on Silicon Valley Bank's deposits and loans in a deal worth about $72 billion. Grand jury weighing possible criminal charges against former President Donald Trump reconvenes today. Still no word on any indictment. This is ABC News.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
7 people now confirmed dead from the chocolate factory explosion in West Reading, Pennsylvania on Friday. 2 more victims found in the rubble on Sunday. Mayor Samantha Kaag.
We are truly grateful to be able to account for all presumptive missing and bring closure to families involved in the upcoming days.
The U.S. Army now pulling its ad featuring actor Jonathan Majors following his arrest linked to an alleged domestic dispute. Police say the Ant-Man and Creed 3 star was the one who called 911, his girlfriend claiming he slapped her and put his hand on her neck. Majors charged with strangulation, assault, and harassment. Here's ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
His attorneys claim the woman was having a, quote, emotional crisis, adding they're collecting evidence that will clear Majors' name, including witness testimony from the cab driver, video footage from inside the car, and written testimony from Major's girlfriend, allegedly recanting her allegations.
Prince Harry back in the UK today. That's what it sounded like when the Duke of Sussex arrived at London's High Court for a lawsuit accusing the Daily Mail of phone tapping and privacy violations. Elton John and actress Elizabeth Hurley among the other 7 plaintiffs. A security breach at Twitter. Parts of the company's closely guarded source code leaked online. There are the fundamental computer instructions the platform runs on. It includes security vulnerabilities. Twitter has filed a lawsuit trying to figure out who is behind the breach. This is ABC News.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
showers are on the way out, but with the actual front moving through, we could see some showers and perhaps a few rumbles of thunder for this afternoon across the southeast. Most areas will be dry. Highs will be in the mid-70s and lower 80s today. Come tonight, we're down into the upper 40s and lower 50s. Look for highs in the lower 60s and lower 70s for tomorrow with sunshine throughout the day. Some showers moving in Tuesday night. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
We're currently 59 degrees, still cloudy out there. We should be warming up to around 78 for a daytime high today with some wind gusts to about 17 miles per hour. It's 8:05 Monday morning, and it's time for us to talk with Anita, find out where some jobs are. She's gracious and kind enough to talk to us on Monday mornings, and we'd love to have her on. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
We have a supervisor group lead in Rutherford that requires a associate's degree and 1 year experience. A quality engineer, also in Rutherford, that's associate's degree in 1 year. A quality analyst in Rutherford, that is associate's degree in 1 year. Sales and service associate out in Columbus, that's a high school diploma and 1 year of customer service experience. Manufacturing supervisor, that is a first shift, that is in Far City, that requires 1 year experience. We have a project engineer in Far City that requires 1 year of experience. We have a truck driver CDL out in Spindale, that is $800 a week is the base. That is 2 years experience. A bank sales and service representative, a teller out in Columbus, that's a high school diploma. They're not requiring experience. A customer service representative out in Columbus, that is $15 an hour, a high school diploma and 1 year experience. A recovery guide out in Ellenboro, that's a high school diploma. And I forgot about the customer service. It's $15 an hour beginning. Overnight associate is in Mill Springs, that is $15.50 an hour, high school diploma and 6 months experience. We also have a client relations representative out in Far City, that is $35,000 a year, high school diploma and 6 months experience. Also, we have this Saturday, well, it's actually put on by Cleveland County, but I told them that I would advertise and stuff because you may have some job seekers that listen that is in the lower end of our county, and also maybe some from Cleveland County. I don't know. But Cleveland County is sponsoring a job fair that is at the LeGrand Center. The LeGrand is the backside of Cleveland Community College. That is from 8 to 12 this coming Saturday. Also, it's not too early to mention, but we're doing a spring job fair here at Isothermal Community College on April the 20th. That is from 2 to 6. We'll have several employers there to talk to people, and that will also be for any of those who may already have been laid off from FreightWorks that might be listening. The first few hours is for those people who are getting laid off from Milliken, and for FreightWorks, and for Packaging Corporation of America. So for any of these jobs and for any of the more information, or if you need a resume or just need to connect with any employers, just give us a call. Come by and see us here at 223 on Charlotte Road in Rutherford. Our number is 828-286-3042.
All right. Anita, thank you very much. Good report, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thank you. Have a good day, dear.
See you. Bye-bye. It's Anita with the job service over there. It's 8 minutes past 8 o'clock. We'll see if Wayne Rollins is available this morning.
Well, hello. You might remember me from movies such as It's a Wonderful Life and Vertigo, but I bet you didn't know I was also a World War II aviator. I love history, and I also love antiques. Well, that's why I shop at Dive Bomber Vintage in Ruffton. Well, I've got something for everyone. They're located at 126 Park Lane Drive. Stop by the Chowhound Canteen next door. Have a hot dog or two. Make sure you tell Jesse that Jimmy sent you.
This is Dwayne Hunt with Insurance Service Associates. We know that due to COVID, many people don't want to come in the office. If you need to discuss your insurance needs or just make a payment, you can come through the drive-thru, telephone us, or drop in. We want to see you, but it doesn't have to be across from a desk. Insurance Service Associates, now located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City.
Good morning, Wayne Rollins.
Good morning, Jim. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How about make us hungry this morning? Tell us
Well,
how you make us hungry.
well, I can do my best. That's for sure. I know it's early, but you always still got to think about what you're going to eat for lunch.
Yes.
So, of course, today at lunch on a Monday, you can always come by and get that grilled chicken Philly. Just a real good sandwich. We take those grilled chicken tenders that we do in-house there and throw them on the grill and throw some peppers and onions on there. And, again, you can make it your way. There's a certain way we make it, but, you can always throw some mushrooms or jalapenos or a good one that a lot of people do is they'll throw some chopped bacon in there and then add a little ranch dressing to it. So you got sort of like a bacon chicken ranch wrap, or not a wrap, but on a hoagie like that with a 6-inch hoagie. And we toast that bun up real good. And you got different cheeses. We put provolone cheese on it, but you can go with the cheddar, you can go with a pepper jack, or you can throw some Swiss on there as well. So a lot of different ways you can make that sandwich. And, of course, you can put, mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato, just whatever you want on it. Another popular item that has become really popular is our cheeseburger salad. I know that sort of goes against the rules, I guess, if you're trying to lose a little bit of weight, but it's still keto-friendly, if I say that right, I guess, because you get a cheeseburger without a bun. We take that hamburger patty and chop it up, and again, you can put whatever you want on it, and we put it right on top of one of our salads, which is big enough probably for 2 people to eat. So the cheeseburger salad's always been a popular item since we started that a couple of months back, and all kind of stuff. So you got the hamburgers, the hot dogs. You can do those anyway. We got some good thick cut liver mush and bologna that we can deep fry for you and put on a toasted bun. If you're going to do like a late breakfast, if you come in right at 11 o'clock or come in anytime, you can always add an egg or cheese to that and make you a little breakfast sandwich if you've got to eat breakfast this morning. So we still got a little breakfast even though it's just lunchtime. You can do that. And then yesterday I got some cucumber and onion and tomato. Got some fresh stuff in. Some of the produce is starting to come in good. So we got that marinating to have a little cold salad there that'll be good for lunch or supper tonight. So that'll get you started at lunch. Now, if you want to get on into dinner time tonight, we're going to throw one out that's been very popular is pear cobbler. A lot of people's never tried that, never heard of it, but it's one that we used to do over at the cafeteria, and it's definitely homemade. We put the crust on top of it. It's got some pecans in it. If you've never tried the pear salad, I definitely encourage you to do so. And don't forget, you can always throw a scoop of ice cream on top of it, and that always makes cobbler to me just a little bit better. I know Monday's usually our meatloaf day, but we're going to switch it up a little bit this evening. We're going to do our homemade salmon patties. We cook those up to order on the grill, so tonight at 3 o'clock you can come in and get the salmon patties. Of course, you'll have all the other stuff with the hamburger steaks, the baked ham, the calabash chicken, fried flounder, and then I got a big old pot of turnip greens cooking, Jim. They've been cooking for about 2 or 3 hours now.
Wow.
So you can't go wrong there when you slow cook some turnip greens. So they'll be ready to go this afternoon, too. And, of course, we'll have the sweet potato casserole and the cream potatoes, corn, that kind of stuff. So all that's starting up at 3 o'clock. Just a reminder, everybody know we seem like we get a few every week, but people always come in, or they'll come in and be like, man, I want to get me a cheeseburger. Well, unfortunately, we're not able to do all of those things every day. I mean, we can do them at lunchtime from 11 to 2. That's when we do all of our hamburgers and salads and that kind of stuff. And then my kitchen's just a little small. I can't do both of them. And so at 3 o'clock, we just do the meats and vegetables. We have several people, and I know everybody just gets, they haven't been there maybe, or just wanting a good cheeseburger, and I can understand that. But just unfortunately, at 3 o'clock, we have to go to the meats and vegetables, and we just don't have the facility to be able to accommodate to do both of them. So just the meats and vegetables at 9, and 90% of them always say, well, man, that sounds good. Let me get a hamburger steak. So, but just a lot of good things going on, still doing some catering. Seems like every weekend we've got something going on with that, and I appreciate all the business from that end of it. People taking time to let us get our catering menu out there. And if you're curious about what we do with catering, you can always go on Facebook and look at that. Or you can drop by. We got a good catering menu that we designed and set up. It's a 3-page fold-up menu that's got all the meats and vegetables that we do and a lot of the different things that we offer. So if you're curious about what we can do, swing by the restaurant anytime between 11 and 7, and you can pick up that menu, and it'll give you a good idea of what all we do. And I sort of tell everybody we're as good for a backyard barbecue sit-down. We can do a hot dog hamburger cookout, or we can do a formal sit-down wedding. So we got you covered pretty much any way you can go on that catering side.
The versatile Wayne's Lunchbox. That's cool.
It's amazing what me and my girls can really throw out of there. They amaze me all the time with what all we can do, and I just got a good crew, and I'm thankful to have all those girls that work hard and come in for me, and I've been blessed and fortunate to have that. I know a lot of places struggle to keep help, and it's hard to do right now, and I've been blessed to have a good crew that I can depend on. I know they're coming in unless something bad's going on. They come in, they do their job, and we just rock it out every day. So
you got a good team over
there. That means a lot. That means a lot more than you can think, especially when you have a smaller place. When you have a bigger place, you can miss one or two people sometimes, and I know that still puts you in a bind. But when you have a small place and you've only got 4 or 5 people working, and when one of those gets out, then it can really throw you in for a good hard run. So, but my girls are usually there pretty much all the time, and of course we work the weekends off a lot of times unless we have a big catering. So they put their 4 days in and then enjoy the weekend. So, but I definitely am thankful for my crew. That's for sure.
Wayne, we're proud of what you're doing over there, and keep up the good work. And I look forward to talking to you again on Wednesday.
All right, sounds good, Jim. Y'all have a good week, and thank you for everything y'all do.
See you now. Bye-bye.
All right.
Wayne Rollins reporting in from Wayne's Lunchbox this morning. It's 17 now, past 8 o'clock. Some news from here and there in just a moment.
There are plenty of drugstores in Rutherford County, but not all of them offer the same personal customer service that is offered at the Medicine Box of Rutherfordton. Laura Hodge and her team have trusted experience and professional service. You're not just a number to them, you're a friend. Make the Medicine Box of Rutherfordton your hometown drugstore at 200 Charlotte Road in Rutherfordton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 1, 287-7117.
Story I mentioned earlier this morning, let me repeat it again. It's worthy of mentioning. The Daily Courier is reporting that Rutherford County Commissioners are asking the state to set aside the new property reevaluation. The recent property evaluation may not be used after all when county and municipal budgets and tax rates are set for the upcoming 23-24 fiscal year. County Commissioners passed a resolution Thursday evening formally asking the NC legislature to ask the county to instead to continue using the 2019 reevaluations until another evaluation is conducted no later than 2027. Many property owners were shocked when they received the newest property reevaluation in the mail last month. Most values showed increases. Some showed what property owners believed to be outrageously high increases of 75 to 100% and even more. These values, along with the tax rates, are used to determine individual tax bills. Some say the end of the COVID pandemic with pent-up demand and more people looking to buy rural property ultimately contributed to the high property values, along with a severe housing shortage. Commissioners, along with the county attorney Richard Williams, explained that Rutherford County is bound by law as to how it conducts a property reevaluation and the processes it goes through ultimately to create a budget and set the tax rate and collect taxes. Per state law, the county must conduct a property reevaluation at least every 8 years. Nearly 20 years ago, county leaders agreed to conduct reevaluations in a 4-year cycle, essentially believing that it would reduce the likelihood of dramatic valuations changes one might see if they were only conducted every 8 years. Well, this year's reevaluation caught many off guard, but officials say this is not just a Rutherford County issue. It has happened to counties across North Carolina. Commissioners Williams, County Manager Steve Garrison, and Revenue Director Richard Lawson fielded numerous questions at their meeting last week, and some that were asked in person a lot of the questions were submitted previously to the board, and some that were asked in person at the meeting. Officials again assured the public that no new tax rate has been set. That will come in June following the adoption of the annual county budget. The property revaluation that citizens received in the mail is not a tax bill. County tax bills are calculated after the tax rate is set and are usually mailed out in late July. Commissioners also again assured the public that if the state legislature denies the request to set the new valuations aside and continue using the provision, the county tax rate will be reduced. Commissioner Tony said, if you have questions, come to us. We all want what's best for Rutherford County. We won't get them fighting and tearing each other down. They expressed their disappointment at the orchestrated movement to spread disinformation regarding the property valuation and county tax rate. Alan Tony said, I have seen so much disinformation and lies. We don't need this to be happening. We need to be working together. I don't want my taxes to increase either, but we need your support, not more division. The citizens who attended the meeting in general seemed reassured by what they said. On Friday morning, Commissioner King said he appreciated the people coming out to the meeting, listening, and offering their questions. Officials hope to hear back from the state on this matter within a few weeks. The Sheriff's Report coming up in just a moment.
Jim, my friend, this is a message from Lee and your faithful listeners at the drop-in food stores. We've always tagged ourselves as your hometown convenience store, and I must add you are the hometown voice of Rutherford County and have been for years. When traveling, I always know I'm home when I can pick up WCAB, and especially when I hear your voice. Thanks for the years of keeping everyone informed and up to date on what's happening in the county. You guided us through tragedies and celebrated victories. You will be missed, but you deserve a long and happy retirement. Best wishes to you and Faye from Lee Harrell and the Drop-In in Forest City.
Thank you, Lee Harrell, and your team. We appreciate that. Now here is Lieutenant Harden with the Sheriff's Report.
Last 48 hours look like the Sheriff's Office has answered 346 calls for service, have a total of 183 in the county jail. Looks like they've processed 16 arrests. On incident reports, looks like a Donald Macy has reported a first-degree burglary, assault with a deadly weapon, and assault and battery. Looks like Dollar General Store in Forest City there in Sandy Mush has reported a misdemeanor larceny. Marshall Rippey's reported assault with a deadly weapon and damaged property. Looks like Summer Schuler has reported felony larceny of motor vehicle and breaking and entering. And we have Joshua Beheeler has reported a breaking and entering. Looks like on arrest reports we have a Tyreek Moore charged with assault with deadly weapon, first degree burglary, has a $7,500 secured bond. That's actually a $75,000 secured bond, excuse me, Jim. Michael Holland looks like charged with assault and battery, first-degree burglary, also has $75,000 secured bond. We have Carl Gunn, charged failure to appear, has an unsecured bond. We have a Marjorie Bradley, charged failure to appear, has a $1,000 secured bond. Dominique Reynolds, charged with simple possession of Schedule 6 and driving while license revoked, has a $1,000 secured bond. Casey Cato, looks like charged with FTA times 2, has a $1,000 secured bond. And Roger Ledford, charged failure to appear and non-sport of a child, given a $500 secured bond. Sounds like they were busy this weekend, Jim.
Well, last Tuesday's episode of the TV game show Let's Make a Deal made a Polk County native a $3,000 richer while representing her hometown. Taylor Collins, 29 of Green Creek, was introduced on the TV show wearing a cow costume, and silly outfits are part of the well-known game show Let's Make a Deal. Collins told the show's host, Wayne Brady, that Polk County was known for its farmland and shared a story of how she was late to school many times because of cows causing traffic jams. But she played the game and won $3,000. Congratulations. Sports is up next, and then Word of Faith Fellowship radio program, all right here. See you tomorrow, folks.
NCN Sports, I'm Rod Connett. The men's Final Four is set after a couple more upsets over the weekend. On Saturday, FAU, the 9 seed, took down Kansas State 79-76, while UConn dominated Gonzaga 82-54. Then on Sunday, the number 5 seed, Miami, knocked off number 2 Texas 88-81. San Diego State hit a free throw with just 1 second left to beat Creighton 57-56. So here's how it all breaks down. It'll be San Diego State against Florida Atlantic, and then UConn will get Miami. It's the first time ever that the men's Final Four features no team seeded higher than 4. Both of those Final Four games will be in Houston this coming Saturday night. The men's national championship will then be 1 week from today. On the women's side, 2 more Elite 8 games on the schedule for tonight. Number 1, undefeated South Carolina will face number 2 Maryland. Number 1, Virginia Tech will play number 3 Ohio State. The women's Final Four will be in Dallas on Friday night. On the ice, the Carolina Hurricanes fell short against the league's top team on Sunday. AP correspondent Dave Ferry reports.
The Bruins are 5 away from tying the NHL single-season record for wins following a 4-3 shootout decision over the Hurricanes. David Pastrnak notched his 50th and 51st goals of the season.
It's definitely special. It's been a long way, and, obviously big thanks to all my teammates and my family.
Charlie Coyle and Jake DeBrusk provided the shootout goals in Boston's 57th victory and 7th in a row. Jacob Lauko also tallied, and Jeremy Swayman made 34 saves for the NHL's top team. Jack Drury, Brady Shea, and Sebastian Aho scored for Carolina, which is 3 points ahead of the Devils for the Metropolitan Division lead. I'm Dave Ferry.
You are listening to NCN Sports.
Getting older and wiser is a part of life. But like all things, aging has its challenges, and it's often hard to know where to turn for answers. Listen to the AARP Without Limits podcast to get the best information to navigate the challenges of aging in North Carolina. Learn how to live your best life after 50. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Hi, Darcy the Cow here for Black Cow, the mature manure. It's time to start getting your flower and vegetable gardens off to a great start with Black Cow. Prepare new plant beds with a 1.5-inch layer of Black Cow in the area, and then mix it in with the soil 6 inches deep. Black Cow is organic. Pick up the bright yellow bags and get growing.
Black Cow, the mature manure. Black Cow.
In NASCAR action on Sunday, Tyler Reddick in the number 45 car got the win at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Kyle Busch finished second. Kurt Busch, the former driver of the number 45 car, was in the Fox Sports broadcast booth for the race.
How fast we're growing and how much we're doing together. It's forward together on this program, and it brings me a little bit to be choked up. I was hoping to be back in that car, but it's in good hands.
Busch had to retire from full-time racing after the 2022 season because of concussions and other health-related issues. Next up for NASCAR, they'll travel to Richmond, Virginia next Sunday afternoon. And a shout-out to Duke baseball coach Chris Pollard, who notched his 700th career win over the weekend as the Blue Devils got the series win over rival North Carolina. Rob Connett, NC.
Showers are on the way out, but with the actual front moving through, we could see some showers and perhaps a few rumbles of thunder for this afternoon across the southeast. Most areas will be dry. Highs will be in the mid-70s and lower 80s today. Come tonight, we're down into the upper 40s and lower 50s. Look for highs in the lower 60s and lower 70s for tomorrow with sunshine throughout the day. Some showers moving in Tuesday night. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
How would you like to see another day of maybe 78 or 80 degrees? Well, just stand by. Today, our expectations about 78. And then on Tuesday, we're expecting to get up to 65. And then 64 on Wednesday. And Thursday, back up to 70. So that's going to be kind of a warm day. Maybe a little sprinkle of shower later on, but nothing major in that respect. Again, right now, it is 60 degrees. It's time now for the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program, and with the program today is Carol Reynolds.
Hello, this is Carol Reynolds on the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. We love coming to you and teaching you the Word of God and sharing with you what God has revealed to us in His Word and sharing with you powerful testimonies of how the Spirit of God has changed the lives of men and women in this hour. We see the Spirit of God moving every day, doing miracles, healing people, seeing our prayers answered. God is real. Contrary to what some may say, God is real, and He is moving in this hour, and it's such a blessing to be a part of that. I mean, you can tune into our radio programs and hear testimonies of people that came out of impossible situations, situations that were so dark, situations that were so deep in the depths of sin, and God brought them out, and their lives are changed. We have found out through our pastors in nearly 50 years of ministry that when the Word of God enters the heart of a human being, it changes their life. And we found that out. When you let the words that God has spoken come into your life, it changes your life. But I want to talk today about something that is so real in the hour that we're living in. And I think the majority of us have seen it, not only on a personal level, but also in a level of those around us, even in our nations that we live in, and even in the world today. And that's the power of lies. I'm a Holocaust educator, and I teach on what Adolf Hitler did to the nation of Germany and what he did to the world. And at the end of the war in 1945, we found out that so much of what Adolf Hitler did and believed were bold-faced lies. He led people into concentration camps and told them they were going to take a shower, and they were gassed to death. That is a lying spirit. He told the nations of the world in the early 30s, I'm not going to war. I'm not going to declare war. I'm not going to go to war. Just give me this little bit of land and I'll be happy. And we saw what appeasing that devil cost us, a world war. And his lies over and over. He made a pact early with Joseph Stalin in Russia, and they were both liars. And they both violated the promises that they made to each other. And we see that today, even in leaders in nations of the world that will proclaim truths and say what they're going to do and say it's the truth, and they do opposite. They do opposite. We saw right up into the day that Putin invaded the Ukraine, he said he wasn't going to do it. We saw the satellite images that showed the troops, the Russian troops, forming on the border of the Ukraine, and Putin said, I'm not going to do it. We see that today in our society. We've seen it in our own government. We've seen it in political leaders that tell lies and get into office and they do the opposite. We see it in the crimes that are committed today on such a level that people lie. Recently, there was a very famous court case about an attorney who murdered the evidence said he murdered his wife and his son. And by the time the week after week took place in the courtroom, the lies, it was like the prosecutors were having to just open up and go through all of these lies, layer after layer after layer. And do you know that his dearest friends got on the witness stand and said, I don't know who this man is. When they found out the things, the embezzlement, the lies, the things that he had done, and the evidence was brought forth, they said, I never knew this man. And they had been with him for like 20 years. But they said, I never knew him. He lived a double life. And we've seen that in so many areas today. We've seen criminals that can bold-face lie, scammers that can lie and take your money. And think nothing of it. Seduce you on the internet, and you send that money. I've talked to people who thought they were depositing money, and it was a totally fake bank on the internet, and they lost thousands of dollars. We know today we're living in an hour that Jesus warned us in 3 Gospels. The book of Matthew, He warns us in chapter 24, and we know we're living in the last days. How do we know that? We know that according to the scriptures. The Bible said when Israel comes back home, when the fig tree blossoms in the land of Israel, is the last days. We are approaching the last days of this planet. Climate change has a lot to do with what the scriptures say, because this planet, this earth, is preparing for the end of this world. You read it yourself. Read it yourself in the book of Revelation. You can see exactly what's going to happen. But please believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and be saved and find salvation in Jesus, and you won't go through those horror days that are coming on this planet. You don't want to be here during the tribulation. You do not want to be here. And we see signs all over the world. Daniel prophesied that the end of days would be a day that knowledge would increase. What did he mean by that? They hardly knew the regions that they lived in. What was it that he meant? Think of today. Think of the access to knowledge we have 24/7 through the internet. You can find out, you can be an expert on any subject because it's out there. The knowledge that this generation has is unbelievable. It's like no other generation that's ever existed on this planet. The knowledge, the availability to know what the truth is, to know, to investigate, to find out. And as Christians, that's what we do. We have the Spirit of truth from John 14 that Jesus gave us, the Spirit of truth that would lead us and guide us into all truth. You know that inward witness of the heart where you walk into somewhere and the Spirit of God says, get out and get out now? I've heard people tell me that they were in a bank like 5 minutes before it was robbed and they got out. People said, the Spirit of God said to them, don't turn right here, go this way. And if they would have turned right, they would have went straight into a major accident. God leads us and guides us. You're about to buy something. It looks like a good deal. You think it's a good deal. And the Spirit of God says to you, don't buy it. Don't buy it. And you find out later that it was a scam, and if you would have bought it, it would have been destruction. We have the Spirit of truth. We do not have to fear the days that we are living in because we have the Spirit of God in us that leads us and guides us into all truth. Do you know one of the greatest prayers that our Pastor Jane has prayed for decades has been, Jesus, I have to know truth. I have to know truth. Is this you, God? We have to know truth. That is a cry that's come out of our pulpit over and over again for years and years and years. What is truth? How do we know truth? You know, Pilate asked Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, the King. Pilate had a face-to-face encounter with the Spirit of God in Jesus Christ, the truth of God Almighty, and he couldn't see it. He couldn't see it. Our pastor just pointed out last week in the scriptures, if you go read that encounter there in the book of John about Pilate and Jesus, and then when he says, are you a king? And Jesus said, I came into this world, I was born to be the king. And he came face to face with the Spirit of the living God, and he couldn't see it. He couldn't see it. The next chapter, it says Pilate scourged him and sent him to be beaten and sent him to the cross. And him washing his hands did nothing for the lie that he took into his heart. He took into his will. He took into his mind and acted on that lie instead of the truth. And you can read it in the scriptures. It's so real. Think of Judas Iscariot, the one that betrayed Jesus. He lived with the truth. He walked with the truth. He knew the truth in Jesus Christ. And he chose a path against the truth. Do you know that you can make a decision and send your life down a path of destruction and a path of hell? I've talked to people. I talked to a woman who married the wrong person. She said her mom wasn't happy with it. Her dad wasn't happy with it. And she walked down that aisle, she said, and her dad took her to that aisle. She gets up there to be married, and she says, all of a sudden, when she said, I do, she said a feeling came over her that she had done the worst thing in her life, and the marriage ended up in ruin. It was horrifying. And she knows to this day, thank God, God saved her, God delivered her. She walks with Jesus, and she has a very godly husband to this day. but she's a testimony to others to tell them you better not go against the Spirit of God when he's warning us. And that's what's happening today. The Spirit of God is warning us about the hour we live in. And in 3 Gospels, the apostles of the Lord Jesus Christ record what Jesus says about the last days. The first thing that Jesus says about the last days is in the first one, Matthew 24, verse 4. Jesus says, be careful. And this is what the apostles were asking him. How do we know? When's the time going to come? When are the last days? What's going to happen? And the first thing Jesus says is, in verse 4, be careful that no one misleads you, deceiving you and leading you into error. Many of us as adults will remember what happened with the Jonestown cult, where hundreds and hundreds of American citizens went to a foreign country. They drank Kool-Aid and they died because he told them to drink it. Now that is deception. That is believing a lie, and you can't tell the difference. In the book of Isaiah, it says, what you're holding in your hand is a lie, and you don't even know it. We have to ask Jesus. We have to ask God, am I living in truth? Am I speaking the truth out of my mouth? The book of Exodus in chapter 20, it says, do not bear false witness. Do not lie. In Leviticus, it says, do not lie. In Ephesians, Paul tells us, do not lie. All throughout the scriptures, it talks about it. Don't speak a lie. Don't believe a lie. And how do we know the difference? Because it can look so real. Satan masquerades as an angel of light. It looks real. It sounds real. He is the father of lies. And we're going to look at that in a few minutes. But quickly go over to Mark 13, because that is the other chapter where Jesus lays out what's going to happen in the latter days. And we need to know this, people of God. We need to know what God says about the last days, especially our Lord Jesus Christ. And the apostles wrote it down for us by the Spirit of God so we would know what Jesus said about the last days. And the greatest warning is deception. Lies are going to be out there. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. It says in Mark 13, the other chapter, that Jesus talks about the last days. And in verse 4, they're saying, tell us, Jesus, when is this going to take place? And what will be the sign when these things, all of them, are about to be accomplished? What will be the sign? The first thing he says again, Jesus began to tell them in verse 5, Mark 13, be careful and watchful that no one misleads you about it, because many will come in my name, appropriating themselves the name of the Messiah, Jesus Christ, basing their claims on Jesus Christ, and they will mislead many. It is a warning to the hour that we live in. Now turn quickly to Luke. Matthew, Mark, Luke, chapter 21. And this is the other warning of the Lord Jesus Christ from the apostles that warned us about the end of days. They were asking Jesus again. They were around the temple and the beauty of that temple and looking at how beautiful that was. And Jesus said, that temple will be destroyed. That temple, there will not be one stone left upon another. In verse 6, look at it, he says, the time will come when there shall not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. And they're looking at this huge building that is one of the most magnificent works of the ancient world. Can you imagine the amazement that they must have had to think that Jesus was saying this temple, this beautiful work of art that was done all these ages, that the world magnified and said was the most beautiful building, one of the most of the ancient world? And Jesus said there won't be one stone left upon another. Go check your history book. AD 70. It happened just really a few decades later. And the entire temple was destroyed and the stones were thrown down. it was destroyed. It is dirt today. There is nothing, hardly anything. There are stones that were thrown down. There are signs to this generation that what Jesus said was true, and the stones are laying on the ground in Jerusalem, and you can see them, and they bear witness that Jesus Christ said this would happen, and it did. It did happen. That was another sign that we're living in the latter days, the last days. And Jesus said, for all of this will come. And then they said in verse 7 of Luke 21, Teacher, when will this happen? What sign will there be when this is about to occur? And look what Jesus says in Luke 21, verse 8. He said, be on your guard and be careful